nice day. Take a deep breath. And relax with me. You know, talking about money should be a safe place for all of us. On the last episode, I talked about my subscriber that gave me such a wonderful comment about moving out and starting in their late 20s. And it brings back such wonderful memories for me when I was young, fabulous, and broke. As you guys know, I just have to quote that from Susie Orman from time to time because it was her money book in 2005 that changed everything. For me, when I was actually, oh my goodness, I was 39 years old. So think about that for a minute. This person that gave me that wonderful comment that I talked about on the last episode is in their late 20s. Congratulations to you for waking up and thinking about money in your late 20s. This did not happen for me until my late 30s. So, we have to put that into perspective, don't we? That even though part of our life we can be perhaps ashamed of the person that we were, financially speaking, of course, I am the person I am. That didn't change. But my behaviors changed significantly once I had awareness as to what I had made of my life, which was not much in terms of financially speaking. So for all of you out there right now, remember that, because you guys can do great with money as well. Now, today's episode is all about trying to not live our lives as a consumer, but be a creator of your life. So first we should probably talk about the difference. A consumer, obviously, is somebody that consumes content either through Netflix, through watching cable TV, newspapers. I don't know, do people still read newspapers? Some of you may not even know what a newspaper is. But a consumer, of course, is taking information kind of like mindlessly, as you know, as we all do, watching television or just, not really thinking much about the impact of the number of hours we're just consuming content and maybe not learning anything from that content. And I think that we should try to be a creator of our life, whether that be through finances, through your relationships, your friendships with your significant others and your family, or whatever it is. Being a creator is something that should give us hope for the future rather than just letting the future happen. And I think that once we go through that mind shift and suddenly we become futuristic is when positive changes then, I think, can come into our lives. Unfortunately, most of us experience lifestyle creep. And I was reading an article that I wanted to share briefly, just some excerpts from it. was written in 2022, and it talked about the cost of your lifestyle can, of course, creep up on you like mold festering in a refrigerator. You don't notice it until one day, bam, the impact is clear, and it is not pleasant. The article goes on to say, when did you decide to shop so frequently? Most people don't even give a thought to the charges that add up on a credit card. The balance just continues to go up and up and up. And the article talks about like, when does that happen? When do people decide that it's okay to charge up their credit card and not pay the balance off at the end of the month? Well, this person suggests that that probably happens when we get more money. And trust me, you will get more money in your lifetime, no matter what your age right now. You might be 25, you might be 35, you might be 45, you may be 20 or younger. If you do a good job, and if you're with a company and you hustle a little bit and you find side jobs, maybe part-time work, you're going to make more money in your lifetime, hopefully each and every year, because you're going to bring something to that company. Do you remember what it is? Value. You're bringing value to the company that you work for, or maybe the business that you own. Most companies then reward employees that bring more value. The article goes on to say, maybe you moved in with your partner, maybe you're sharing expenses, maybe you then have more discretionary spending. And what do most people do with discretionary spending? They spend it on things that they don't even know where it's going, to be quite honest. They wake up and they say, how did my balance get so large on this credit card? Do you guys remember a few episodes back, I talked about being a guest on the Susie Orman Show in 2012. And I worked with the producer, and I had shared with you that the producer said to me, how can your expenses be so low? I mean, wait till you come back on Friday. For those of you watching this in real time, I'm going to talk about my expenses in 2014. That was 10 years ago. When I'm recording this in 2024, I was shocked when I saw how low my expenses really were. But I have to tell you, it was intentional. I did it for a reason. And why did I do it? I did it because I wanted a very high savings rate. And you can't do that if you have a lot of monthly expenses. So, what is the solution then? If most people, as this producer told me, she goes, wow, you're one of the very few that had a real strong understanding of your income versus your expenses. And I was like, really? Most people that write into the show don't know. They're just writing in and saying, Susie, how am I doing? And they have no clue, which I thought was really interesting. But most people let their lives balloon, and the well, your savings rate high as it comes as a result of having low expenses and higher income, then you may get to a point where work is optional. That is a very powerful place to be. Think about that. Work can be optional. It can be if you build your engine so large that it pays for your life. But sadly, that's not what most people do. Instead, they choose to live as a consumer and not the creator of their life. You want to be the creator. You want to be the person that builds that engine, whether it be investments, real estate properties, or whatever it is. You guys all have the ability to think about how you want your future to be. I chose mutual funds. I chose a slow path to wealth through index fund investing through my 401k and my Roth IRA. That was my path. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm saying that's what I did. And every single year that went by, I thought to myself, how can I optimize the year? Do I really want a large monthly payment on a really nice car? Or did I want to leverage the inheritance from my grandfather, as I talked about, and pay for it outright? You know, that taught me a very powerful lesson. In fact, the car that I just bought at the end of 2023 that I told you about, the Mazda CX-5, I paid for it outright as well, because I learned from my previous experience. And when you learn from these experiences where you pay for something outright, then you practice the art of knowing that you are truly paying for something based on its value today. Now, of course, real estate may be a little bit different. Most of us, including myself, had to have a mortgage, but then I eventually, of course, paid that off. But you know, I first started learning about these concepts in 2014. I instead wanted to be a creator and not a consumer. I had already practiced the art of frugality, as you know, with things like transportation, housing, and food, and dining out. But this may have also been the time that I was learning about Vicki Robin. Remember I talked about her, the book that she wrote called Your Money or Your Life. Now, I don't know that I explained it real well last time, but maybe some of you have read that book. I just wanted to add some flavor to the conversation about your money or your life and what that means. Think about, for a moment, a purchase that you want to make. Maybe that purchase cost $500. I want you to think about the reality of how many hours would you have to work to pay for that item. That is not how most people think. They think, well, if I'm going to purchase an item, comes up